Backstage with Brough. Yeah, we're live. Backstage with Brough. Come on in.
Welcome back to Backstage with Brough, the podcast where we go behind the scenes. Today, we're going to talk to one of our seniors, Jake Douthitt. So let's head backstage and see what stories he has for us today. Welcome back to our first student episode of Backstage with Brough. I've got Jake Douthitt here. He is one of our seniors. He played Shrek in the all-school musical of Shocker, it was Shrek. So, welcome to the
Hello.
podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Are you excited?
Very. Been waiting for this.
Here we are. You ready for these hard-hitting questions?
Absolutely.
We're just going to do a casual conversation. What drew you to theater?
The first show that I ever saw was Rumpelstiltskin at the Spotlight Theater when I was in first grade. And I went with my grandparents, and there was a lot of audience interaction, which is really fun when you're in first grade. And I think that getting to interact with the characters really made me realize that this is really fun. And then as I got older, it was kind of like, I want to do that for other people.
Oh, yeah. So most shows, you really don't break what they would call third wall. Was that kind of a challenge coming from something that was like, oh, man, this is going to be fun. I can interact with the audience all the time to you really don't typically interact with the audience?
Yeah, I honestly have a hard time interacting with the audience. Honestly, it's just kind of awkward.
Absolutely.
I don't mind just standing there saying my lines and getting to play a character.
So you've been doing theater for how long?
I started theater in summer after first grade.
Okay.
So
So you've been
however many
doing it
years
for a
that is.
while. What has been your favorite show thus far? And I'm not talking, that's just not necessarily just Union, but any show.
That is a hard question. I'd say my first community theater show, Hadestown at Clark, was eye-opening and just incredible. And the people I did it with, you can't beat it. But I think this year I went on a great run with Shrek and Into the Woods in February.
Yep.
And I think that both those shows were dream shows for me.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say it's probably Shrek.
Okay. Wait, now I'm curious about Hadestown. Now tell me more about it.
So I was driving back from Dallas because I was visiting my aunt who lives out there. And I got a text from Jack, actually. He sent me the link to the Instagram post where they announced that they were doing it. And the rights had just come out. We were the third in the country to do it. We had people from Colorado come see the show.
Oh,
It
wow.
was incredible. I met amazing people doing that show. It was amazing. It was my first community theater show. There was a bass role, and so I was just like, I'm being blessed right now.
Yeah.
And I got thrown into this group of people at Clark who were established friends. I got to get in here with the teachers and with the students, and so I was welcomed by them very much.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I love them there. The teachers are amazing. I had John and Thomas directed that show, and Tammy, the executive director, ended up being my vocal coach for a while.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you said, so that was a dream role. You also said Shrek. What makes Shrek such a dream role?
I saw Shrek when Union did it in, I guess it would have been my first or second grade year.
Yeah.
And I got the Shrek ears, and I sat in the audience, and I loved it. It was a great show. And then really just ever since then, I mean, you can't help but love it.
Yeah.
Something like Shrek shouldn't be as good as it is. It's insane.
It has a great little message to it.
It
So-
does,
And
yeah.
it's silly, it's fun, and like I said, it's one of those shows where a couple of weeks out you go, oh man, are we gonna make it? Now we always make it, but
We always make it. but
there's
yeah.
always those couple of shows that are always special, and for me, this is one of those special shows. It'll go down as number 2 for me. No secret, Newsies is number
Jeez.
1. Will probably forever be number 1, but
All
there's
right.
always
I'll
a
take 2.
chance to jump it. Was there a moment during your Union theater experience, or really any experience, where you thought, hey, theater is not just something I do, but it's something I'm passionate about?
I would say there was a moment when we were finishing Hadestown, and we thought it was going to be our last show, and we had people standing in the audience because there were not enough tickets to be sold because Clark's a smaller theater, and we ended up getting extended 2 more weeks. So I
Oh,
got
that's
to do
cool.
that show for a month.
Yeah.
And I think doing that really made me realize that if people are this excited to come see something that I'm doing, it just makes me so proud of the work that I put in and knowing that it has paid off to
Yeah.
that extent. I think
Yeah.
that is the best part of it.
So on the flip side of that, we've all had those moments. Was there ever a moment where you thought, you know what, this is too much work. I do not like this. I don't know that I want to continue doing theater.
There's 2 points like that. One kind of unserious one and one that it ended up happening. I had seen a really great production of Music Man, but to a 9th grade boy
Yeah.
does not want to see Music Man.
I know. Listen, that was the musical of choice I had last year before we picked Shrek. So, and there were several of you that were like, I don't want to do that. It's not going to be fun.
Yeah. I definitely talked down on Music Man, but when it was rumored, it was right after I had seen that show the first time around, and I was like, if they do that, I'm out. I can't. It can get hard. And I was like, if it's not a show that I like, that can be rough. I mean, that's dumb. I obviously didn't quit because I realized that, but it ended up not being Music Man.
Right.
And then a little bit of regret hating down on Music Man last year, but Shrek was great, but also the sadder but wiser girl would have been fun.
Well, you know, hey, you never know. 76 trombones.
76 from those.
As a trombone player, that
Gary,
hits
yeah.
me pretty good. Okay, so let's dig into Shrek a little bit. We go through the process. We go through auditions. You're cast as Shrek. So how do you start to approach that role as Shrek? I mean, that's a huge thing. I think you're pretty much on stage the entire show minus
2 or 3 songs,
Yeah. I mean, you have Farquaad a couple times, and then I think top of act 2
Is
maybe.
Fiona, yeah.
Yeah, and then the rest of the time it's the Shrek show. Basically
Shrek
Shrek and Donkey.
Yeah, Shrek and Donkey. The truth is you approach the role when you find out what the show is. I sang who I'd be every day over the summer because, truthfully, I could not sing that song last year.
Yeah.
That was not going to happen. Thankfully, it did, but it takes going over it all the time. I had a copy of the script. I got online. I printed it out. I was going through everything. You have to fake it till you make it. You do. And
that's kind of this business.
Exactly. And, you watch hundreds of people play Shrek. You might get tired of Shrek. That's the truth. But what I was able to do this year was work on Shrek after it was announced until about September. And I was occupied with The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane and Mean Girls at Clark.
Yep.
And so and those 2 roles were easier to come about because one of them's just a teenage boy and then one of them's a hobo, which is not natural. And so I took that break and I kind of took myself out of Shrek and I wasn't thinking about Shrek all the time. So I didn't get burned out, which is a big thing too.
Oh, yeah.
And then approaching it physically, I was running around outside like a crazy person on Riverside singing these songs at night. People probably thought I was insane. It's true.
That's amazing.
In my house on the treadmill when no one else was home.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of that preparation that goes into something like that. Okay, actually, one thing I'm curious about that just popped into my head. Had you not got Shrek, what other role would you have wanted?
Farquaad.
Okay.
Jack knows this. I practiced Farquaad just under how much I practiced Shrek.
That's amazing. Okay, so you've done Shrek. You've done a lot of these other shows.
Yes.
So I know you've done multiple shows all at the same time. Now I'm curious because we touched on this when I talked with Michael, my buddy, in the last one. I'm 19 years out of high school now, and I truly do not remember how in the world that I was able to remember my lines, my choreography, the music. I still miss things sitting at the back of the auditorium when I'm reading the script.
Reading the script.
Because you get lost in the moments. But so, how do you approach memorizing your lines? What is your process? Like, how do you retain all of that, especially doing multiple shows at once?
Yes. The good thing with Shrek was that I almost went and memorized. The way that I learn lines is kind of stupid, and I learn them by doing it. And a lot of times I need to be with the person I'm doing it with, the blocking.
Yeah.
But I'm good at getting it like after 2 or 3 go abouts of a scene. It doesn't take me very long. With Into the Woods, which was the show I did right after Shrek, I did like some writing them out because the dialogue's kind of strange and there's a lot of lines that are very similar but slightly different when you're dealing with a lot of numbers and objectives like the cow, the shoe, the hair, all of that. And so it's like you say one wrong thing and all the context has changed. So that one was a little more tricky.
That makes sense. I think I'm also like a doer. Like I've got to, especially if I'm learning something new, I've got to actually do it before I'm like, oh, okay, this totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Then if I don't do it for 6 months and then I forget, I'm like,
Yep. That's why I
Because
don't take
again,
the summer off.
there's one line that I remember, and that's about it. And so
What's the line?
we tried to stop her, but she wouldn't wait for the drawbridge.
Mm.
But I do know now that the comma goes, we tried to stop her, comma, but she wouldn't wait for the drawbridge. If you don't know the context of that, the first episode with Michael will tell you everything you need to know about that. It's something you struggle with, or maybe still struggle with, but you've gotten better at.
I mean, I'm not the best dancer.
That's okay.
Luckily, I've gotten on Dancing Rules the last couple of years.
There you go.
Something I used to struggle with a lot more that I'm better at now, but obviously nobody's perfect, is taking notes. Especially with something like Shrek, it was a little hard because I had so many ideas in my head already going into it. And I had seen so many different people portray this, and I was like, how can I take what's great about theirs and make it my own?
Yeah.
And so getting a note that was like slightly changing something I had done was kind of, well, hold on. I spent like a week just on this scene last summer, picking out like how I was going to say each word.
Have you ever received a note or a direction from a director that at first you thought, okay, there just went 2 weeks worth of work.
Yeah.
But when you get there, you're like, okay, I see what they wanted. This totally makes sense.
That's a great question. I got a musical note during Hadestown, and this was also kind of a little bit of an ego check. Not that I had been working on the show for so long, but just I was able to hit an extremely low note in this one song in the original octave that Patrick Page sings it in. And I was very excited to sing it because not many people can, and so I was like, let me at it. And I got a note about a week before we went up that was from our music director, Thomas, and he told me to take it up. He said, sing the song up the octave, make it pretty, use your resonance. At first I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I was like, it's so cool when you get down in there and dig it. And so I did for a couple shows, I didn't take the note, which he was fine with. He said at the end of the day, it's your choice. That was his suggestion. He was very graceful with that. But one day I'm going to try it. And I sang the song How Long from Hadestown up the octave. And I ended up getting a very good reaction for that song.
Yeah,
a lot of applause. It took a second. It died down. It was a very nice moment between me and my castmate, Una. It was amazing. And I did it the rest of the 4 weeks like that. And I don't regret that at all. I think that was a really good suggestion. And I wish I had taken it a little sooner.
Sometimes it takes us a little time to get there, but
yeah,
we usually get there.
Trust the process.
You know, sometimes it's frustrating and hard to do, but like you said, trust it. And normally they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Even though it can be frustrating. Let's do some fun things.
Okay, fun things.
Not necessarily about you. I mean, it could be you too. So who misses cues all the time?
Ooh, it's got to be that group of guys. I think it's like Will or Michael. They're John McCade, and they're having fun.
So who are the funniest people or person at rehearsals?
If I was going to say Will, that wouldn't be very true because I try to avoid that so that I don't get caught up.
I mean,
love
smart.
him, but
Smart.
That's like before rehearsal starts. Gloria is really funny.
Okay.
But if we keep laughing, we get in trouble. So sometimes we have to check that. That's why I talk to Jack so much, is because we can kind of draw it back in.
So I guess Gloria would probably be the one who breaks character most.
Yes. Gloria breaks character like nobody's business. Okay. Nobody's business.
Right. Do you have an instance that you can tell?
The scene with Farquaad when he comes to receive her, there was giggling. I had the earpiece in, so I could hear even when you had turned her down a little bit. Yeah. I could hear the giggling in my earpiece. I had to put my head down a bunch, and I couldn't look back at Jack. We talk about breaking character. Big Bright Beautiful World reprise when I'm singing this lovely song about how
got him over here
finally found love.
On stage.
He's moaning and groaning, doing push-ups and down on his knees begging for Gloria.
That's pretty funny.
It's hard. And the earpiece, man, I just hear every little noise he's making.
You hear everything.
It was horrible. That was a challenge. Talk about a challenge. The earpiece.
Well, tell me about it. Tell me about this earpiece, because most people don't wear in-ear for shows, especially in high school. But obviously, you had the prosthetics on, so we wanted you to be able to hear a little bit better. So
no, the earpiece was the best thing for me in that show. That was the most helpful thing I had. I needed that. I could without it, can't hear anything at all. Those prosthetics they're on you, and you're sweating so much, and you are moving, and that costume is loud.
So as I said, you are a senior this year. What are the plans?
So
you're going to stay in theater?
I did all of my pre-screens for theater, and I went down that route during first semester, and then when all the shows came up, I kind of lost track, but it ended up being fine. I had 3 big options when I was considering what I want to do after school. I had gotten into University of Michigan, which is top of the line.
Yeah.
Like, very proud of myself for the work I put in to get in there, and I'm very grateful that they would accept me. But a lot of money, very far, and I've always wanted to stay pretty close.
Yeah.
And so I kind of realized that theater is something I love so much. But if I had done 4 years of nothing but theater, I would have gotten tired of it and I would have gotten burnt out. And I just don't want that to happen for
Yeah.
something that I care so much about. And so I decided that theater was not what I wanted to do after high school. So my options now are University of Arkansas for business, which would be amazing. An option that speaks to me passionately and less as practicality is I would like to be a firefighter at some point.
Okay. Well, that's
And
cool. That'd be fun.
yeah. And so I think that my second option besides Arkansas is going straight into the academy.
So what is it about being a firefighter that potentially draws you to that?
My dad is a firefighter,
Oh, okay.
and I think that it's really good work,
Yeah.
and he loves it. He talks very highly of it. He's more on the paramedic side, but he's done so much, and
Yeah.
I think that me and him share that trait of never just wanting to do one thing, needing to switch it up. He was in the Army. He was a cop at one point, I believe. He was on the SWAT team at some point.
That's kinda cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, he has a lot of cool things that he's
So
done.
I can imagine the stories. Are you still going to try to do community theater?
Yes, I will definitely be scratching the itch for
Yeah,
sure.
that'd
I've
be
been
fun.
saying that. Yeah. I think
Maybe
that
not 4 shows at once.
I never thought I would do 4 shows at once in the first place, but I
Well,
did.
yeah. Oof. I can't even imagine.
It was crazy, but it was so fulfilling,
Yeah.
and I thought that I gave my all
Yeah.
everywhere, and
Heck
that's
yeah.
all I can do.
That's absolutely. All right, let's move to the lightning round. Don't really think about it too hard. I'm just going to throw some
Okay.
random questions out. First thing that comes to your mind, just shout it out.
Let's do it.
Dream role.
George and Sunday in the Park with George.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite prop you've used?
There's a couple really cool photos of me holding that flower as Shrek.
Okay.
I think that's a fun one.
All right. What's your go-to snack?
I'm gonna be boring. I'm gonna say just like a protein bar.
Okay.
If I'm stopping at a gas station,
All
that's what I'm grabbing.
Coffee or an energy drink?
Oh, energy drink.
Okay, what
Yeah,
kind?
energy drink. Ghost energy.
What flavor?
Ooh, anything.
Okay.
Had a straw mango today. That was
All right.
great.
Are you an early person or a night owl?
Oh, night owl.
Okay.
I can get up early. Not a fan of it though.
That's fair.
I'm miserable.
Summer or winter?
Oh, summer.
Okay.
Summer all the time.
Would you rather have a matinee or a night show?
Night
Yeah.
show.
I mean, I kind of figured from the
Yeah.
night owl thing.
I would love mayonnaise. I love mayonnaise though.
Worst rehearsal fail? Like I said, not necessarily at Union.
Well, I'll give you one at Union. I had worked really hard for that big, bright, beautiful world note in who I'd be, and I'd gotten it plenty of times in rehearsals before, and then I was really excited to do it during Sitz Probe the first time we played with the orchestra, and
Yeah.
I like totally had a little crack on it, which kind of sucked, but
Hey.
it was fine.
Who's always late?
Me?
I
No.
thought you were going to say Gloria, but
No, it is Gloria though. Truthfully,
okay.
she talk about a night owl. She's not there. You calls 8 o'clock for dance. She'll be there at 9.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
I would love to fly. I feel
Okay.
like that's stupid, but like get me away from people.
So before we wrap up here, any shout outs for anybody? Directors, teachers, anybody?
Jack, right there, great friend, been with me day one.
Yeah.
For sure. My vocal coach, Sherry Lewis, she's amazing. She's been with me since 8th grade, taught me a lot. Shout out to the Discovery Awards for nominating me.
Yeah.
Everyone come out May 29th. Be there, be square.
That's
Get
right,
to sing
be
a little
square.
Shrek song. Possibly I'll be singing a finalist song if we're lucky.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers
We've
crossed.
worked hard for this.
Yeah. Well, I think with that, Jake, thanks for joining us here on Backstage with Brough.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like, subscribe, share it with your friends. If you enjoy it and you think somebody else would enjoy it, share the word. Who knows?
Yes.
Hopefully people enjoy this. I hope they do.
I'll be sharing it.
I enjoy
everywhere.
it. So yeah, and with that, I think we'll wrap this episode up. And thanks for going backstage with us. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.